for a period of time. Walk me through the steps of the first success story.
So my first business. So you just mentioned something that I built a non-profit organization from 2 volunteers to 600
Yep,
volunteers, but that was a little
yep.
bit later on.
Okay, yeah,
My
yeah.
my very first business was a construction business.
Mhm.
So when I arrived in Abergavenny, very quickly, you know, I was scared because the place when I was working, it was only a 1-star restaurant, and I was like, oh my god, it can't get any worse than that. And then they explained it to me that it's the Michelin star, which is
It's a
like,
good
you
start.
know, it's not that bad. And I spent a little bit of time there, but eventually I landed in London because I was like, I want to go. That's the place to go. You know, UK, it's a 3 trillion pounds economy. 1/3 of it is in London.
It's
You
in
know,
London. Yeah,
that's where the money is. You know,
yep.
when people say like, "Why do you live in London? It's so expensive." That's where the money is.
There you go.
You know, and then I said like, I have to. I had that idea that I need to find a mentor. I need to find someone who will tell me how to start a business because I knew nothing about business. I
Right.
read a lot of books by then when I was like 19, 20, 21,
Mm.
20. But then I said like, I need to find a mentor, which I did. And this guy told me, I remember, you know, we were drinking coffee in Mayfair, which is like one of the most expensive areas in London. It's one of the most expensive areas in the
In the
world.
world. Yeah.
You know, and he asked me like, what do you want to do? I said, I want to be rich. And he said like, how much do you want to make? And like, I didn't know. I said like £50,000 a year. And he laughed a little bit at me in a good way, in a good way. And then he
Mhm.
said like, he looked around and he saw a scaffolding somewhere. And he said like, you have to start a construction business. And I was like, I know nothing about
Right.
construction. And
Mhm.
then he said those magical words. He said like, don't create yourself a job, create a system. Business, it's a system. You know, you don't have to be a construction worker. You have to be, you know, someone who is creating systems, who is putting everything together. You know, like in an orchestra. You know, you're
Yep.
not playing an instrument. You're the leading person. You know, you taking care of the whole thing.
Mhm.
And that's what I started. You know, and I was